maybe Mike can talk about, you know, how,
Yeah, first off, this ordinance, this proposed ordinance was not business friendly. And I tell you, I'd like to take a moment just to read an email that came from a business community member here. And he's been in the community for over 30 years. Again, this ordinance almost passed. It came real close to passing. And when I was first contacted about it, I said, well, can I see, where's the ordinance? Can you see a copy of it? And, well, it's not out yet. Well, it's not out yet. Well, we waited until, I think it was Thursday or Friday before we even had that ordinance. And now if you want to sit down over the weekend and, read 30 pages of jargon, a lot of people do have a lot of better things to do. But at any rate, somebody that did take the time to read it, here's what he said. He said, having built and owned quality buildings in the city of DeKalb for about 30 years, I have sometimes felt that the city was more obstructionist than helpful in my dealings with them. The proposed inspection ordinance shows that the current administration is tone deaf when dealing with its business community. The proposed ordinance is the worst, most heavy-handed, and most overreaching effort that I've ever seen from the city of DeKalb, subjecting every business in DeKalb to invasive, costly, time-consuming, disruptive annual inspections will not fix the partially collapsed Wurlitzer building. What it will do is hang a big anti-business sign on the city of DeKalb. The way that the city tried to make this ordinance law was sneaky, underhanded, and ought to be illegal. We need to stop this ordinance and make sure it's against the law for the city to act in this way again. And that's one of the reasons I concur with Mr. Coghlan. There needs to be an ordinance. We all want safe buildings in our community, but there needs to be an ordinance to make sure that this never happens again. Because in 3 years from now, if we're sleeping and if nobody's paying attention, we almost have this new ordinance. And this new ordinance is in my opinion, it's another tax. I talked to a lot of retail people, a lot of industry, building owners, chains, talked to the property manager over at DLC Shopping Center, over Buffalo Wild Wings and Egg Haven and Ross Dress for Less. They own over 120 power centers in 9 different states. They took a look at this, they'd never seen anything like it. That's anti-friendly. Now, unfortunately, we're also in an anti-friendly state, our fine state of Illinois, and hopefully things are going to get better. But I took this off of thumbtack.com, and they say Illinois is at the bottom, one of the worst states to try to do business in, and they had an overall rating. They said overall friendliness, ease in starting a business, regulations, health and safety, employment, labor and hiring, tax code, licensing, environmental, zoning, training and networking programs. I was recently at a deal-making show, and I mentioned this last week. I was down at Navy Pier trying to work on some empty buildings that I'm trying to get leased up. And went around and talked to a lot of different communities. There was a lot of municipalities there, and DeKalb was there as well. But I was talking to one economic development director in particular from Huntley, and I was asking how their housing recovery is coming. And they told me that it's pretty good, that they're on course to build over 200 houses. I said, really? Well, how many did you build last year? They said, well, we built 200 and 180 before that. Now, we all know the housing market is down, but we all know how critically important that is to get a community up and going again, with people working and building houses. And if we're not building houses, all the existing inventory, it's not going up in value. It's not appreciating. So right now we have pretty hefty impact fees on our housing. We got fees for everything. Here's another one. So I think that a business-friendly community has incentives for people to want to come here and live here. And, Huntley, they're right on I-90. We're right on I-88. We've got a great industrial tax base, a good health care system, a mid-major university, a lot of apartments, we're creating a lot of property tax. Yet our property taxes in DeKalb are pretty high. They're real high. Our sales tax is real high. Everything about this community is shrinking, and people are leaving. They're exiting this community. People now want to go over to Sycamore, live in Sycamore. They're on par to build 40 houses this year. They're half our size. We haven't built, I don't know if anybody knows the number, Will, but I think over the last,
3 or 4.
in the last 6 years.
No, this year. 3 or 4.
Do you know, Mike?
4 last year and 2 the year before and none before that.
Huntley, Illinois, 200. We're building a distribution center. The Weber Grill Distribution Center, 1 million square feet. I mean, if we want to be business friendly, we got to get this community going. We got to incentivize, not tax, not make it tougher. Not every time you want to lease a space. Look at this beautiful building. If the tenant moves out, now we got to have a reinspection. If he was here temporarily for 6 months, we got to have another inspection. You know, we've got a makeshift podium here. I don't know what you have in that drum, Dave, but you know, I hope it's not hazardous waste. Business friendlies, we want your business. We'll do this. You know, and we don't have that. So